Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on how to manage Power Platform and SharePoint agents. My name is Alexandra. I'm a product design lead here at Syskit, and today with me is Philip, our product owner. Hi, Philip.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
All right, so before we start, a few housekeeping rules for everyone. As you probably know, if you've been on any of our webinars, all the registrants will receive a recording of the session. We will have a Q&A slot at the end of the session, so feel free to just ask any questions as we move along at any time during the webinar. You can find the Q&A functionality on the right-hand side of your user interface that you're seeing. Finally, just try not to be shy. We are really always looking forward to hear from you. We love hearing about your thoughts and experiences. That is something that is truly important to us. So just feel free to ask questions, share your own experience related to today's topic, and yeah, we can just learn something new together. For those of you who don't know us, Syskit is a software development company founded more than 15 years ago. We create innovative, high quality and easy to use governance and management solutions for Microsoft 365 and SharePoint, and are currently just trusted by more than 3,800 customers in more than 90 countries in the world. Some of those customers you can see on the slide on the left-hand side. Moving on to our flagship product. So Syskit Point is a management and governance platform for everything M365 related. It is helping organizations of any size with their growing environments, especially in highly regulated industries, to get a better control over user access, inventory management across all of your workspaces, as well as obviously to enforce different governance policies around it. It is providing you with deep visibility, easy cleanup, a control over external sharing, collaboration, and user access. And today, most importantly, I would say oversharing. It helps keep your environment clean and properly governed from the beginning to the end of life of your workspaces. But today we will be talking more specifically about these topics. So first of all, Philip will tell you how you can manage your Power Platform resources in a smarter way from one centralized and easy to use interface. We will then tackle a little kind of also really a hot topic these days, SharePoint Agent Sprawl, and how you can see through an inventory report, how you can actually get a better visibility of all your custom built agents and what are our plans there. And finally, I will at the end highlight some of the smaller enhancements. They are not as big as the first two topics, but I think it's something that you will appreciate. That was really requested by a lot of you, and that it might make your life easier. And as promised, at the end, we have a dedicated time slot for a Q&A session where we will answer all of your questions from today. All right, that's it for this intro part. Let's dive in straight to the session. Philip, can you guide us through the first topic?
Thank you, Alexandra. So the first topic, like Alexandra already mentioned, is Power Platform. We've actually began releasing features regarding Power Platform a few months ago, but since we've gotten to a point where we have a more complete solution, we decided to share it in this webinar to show what how we actually approach this problem and then how we design the solution. The reason we decided to tackle Power Platform in the first place is because we had a lot of talks with our customers and people who are using Power Platform on a regular basis in the company. And we noticed several issues and challenges that they had a problem solving, and we wanted to see how we can help solve them with Syskit Point. The main challenge that we heard customers and users talk about is the lack of visibility, meaning that without a single centralized interface where you can see all of the apps and flows and resources that you have for the Power Platform, it's hard to know the number. And then without a list of all of the resources that you have, like we already showed previously for the SharePoint, it's hard to do anything else without starting from without visibility. So that's what we focused on first, to show you a list of all of the resources with all of the information that you may find valuable. The second issue that we saw that was the risk was potential risks regarding Power Platform, mainly in security and compliance, meaning that if the apps or flows were shared with somebody that shouldn't have access to them, or they used some connectors that shouldn't be used, there is a potential to violate users' privacy, to expose vulnerable information, or to create new vulnerabilities for the entire company. And that's something that everybody wants to avoid, especially in today's age. And finally, resource optimization, meaning that if you have apps and flows that are not being used, that are not managed, that when you have users who leave the company and then certain apps or flows become orphaned, those are resources that are eating up your cost. And as more of those resources are created and left unmanaged, they keep eating the cost, but they're not serving any real purpose. So the way we decided to tackle these issues is by first creating an inventory of all of the Power Platforms, Power Platform environments, Power Automate flows, and Power Apps. We will show all of this in a demo, but I'm just trying to give you a quick overview. The next step we decided to tackle was showing connections for those resources, and then permissions for those resources as well, so you can see what apps and flows have access to, and then who has access to them. After that, we decided to focus on cleanup actions that allow you to actually do something with the information that is presented. So we've allowed you to add or change owners to help fix orphaned apps and flows, and also delete resources if you figure out you don't really need them and they're just additional cost that doesn't need to be there. And lastly, we've added a dedicated Power Platform admin role. This was added specifically because we heard it was a request from a large number of customers and people we've talked to. And the reason we decided to add it is because in a lot of companies, the Power Platform team is different from the SharePoint team. So people who manage Power Platform usually should not have access to everything else in Syskit Point. And with this role, you can assign users or groups to have access only to those Power Platform features to manage them within Syskit Point without having access to everything else that they shouldn't have access to. And in the near future, we're also working on bringing Copilot agents inventory to Syskit Point. That's something that's in the progress currently. And as always, we would love to hear your feedback and how you use Power Platform in your organization. So if you're interested in talking to us and want to share your experiences, you can simply email us at feedback@syskit.com and we'll reply as soon as we can. The second thing we would like to introduce today are SharePoint custom agent reporting. Like with Power Platform, we noticed several issues with in this category of M365, especially since it's the topic that everybody is talking about, and because SharePoint agents are now included in every new SharePoint site, and more users are having the permissions and licenses to create their own custom agents, which once again leads to the lack of visibility over how many agents are created, who is creating them. This leads to sprawl, because if you can't see how custom agents are being created and how they are being used, you cannot effectively manage them. And that also leads to the same issues with finding those custom agents that are not being used, and they're just additional costs that are necessary for a company, and also potential risks if somebody who shouldn't have access to them has access to them. So instead of just talking more in detail, I think it's best to just jump straight into the demo. So let me just switch to Syskit Point, and we'll just go through everything I just mentioned in the presentation. So to start with, you can see that we have the Power Platform tile here at the beginning. You might have noticed this in several of our previous sessions, but I'm just going to give you once again a run through of how you can most effectively use it to organize and manage everything from a single interface. So you can see that we have a list of environments, apps, flows, and connections that are available in the company. And also you can see how many of those resources are orphaned or inactive. you can directly click on any of these numbers to go into the detailed report to see more details about what's behind these numbers. So let's start with environments. If you click on environments, it's going to bring you to the environments report, where you can generate more details just for specific environments. So if you have a lot of them, you don't need to see everything. You can just check one or multiple environments if you're looking for specific information. But this report gives you an overview of how many environments you have in general, how many apps and flows and connectors they have, how many external users, last activity to see whether those environments are actually being used, and so on and so on. You have a lot of different information you can choose here to display in this report. Some of them are enabled by default. Some of them you can choose if you want to see that information. And if you decide that, for example, you see that an environment is not being used, it doesn't have activity in the last 6 months or a year, or any time frame that you choose is relevant, you can simply select it and then delete it straight from here. If you click delete environment, it's going to show you the repercussions of that action. So, but if you really want to do that, you can do it directly from Syskit Point, and you don't have to go anywhere else to do it. But for this example, let's just select both of these environments, and we can directly go into the Power Apps inventory or the Power Automate inventory. Right now, let's go into the Power Apps, and if we click here, we can see all of the apps across all of those environments that we've selected in the previous step. Let me just hide this description column just so we can have a clear overview. So here we can see all of the apps, including those that are inactive and orphaned. You can see that from this selection right here. You can see, once again, a large number of information, when it was created, when it was modified, the owners, and you can see here you have a lot of information that you can choose and add to this report. If we want to go into cleaning up these apps, because you can see there is a lot of them, we can select these, and for example, let's select this one, and we can change the owner, primary owner or co-owners for a single app, just by, like everything else, we can do it for just typing in, okay, it shows an example that does not exist. It doesn't matter. Here you can select the users or groups that you want to add as primary owners or co-owners. If you select multiple apps, you can add co-owners. So in bulk, you can add multiple people to multiple apps, or single person to multiple apps. And if you want, you can also delete the app from the screen, allowing you to clean up those apps that are not being used or maybe don't serve a purpose anymore. But if you want to go even further, you can select the apps that you're interested in, and then you can drill into the Power App Permissions report. So if we click this, we're going to see who has permissions for those apps that we just selected. And let's just expand this entire report. And you can see everybody who has access and what kind of access, what kind of permissions they have on the app. And if you figure out that somebody doesn't belong here, you can simply select the app and then click Change Owners, and you can change them directly from this screen, as well as deleting the app, like I mentioned in the previous report. Let's go into the Report Center right now, and let's filter out the Power Platform reports. And let's now go into the Power Automate inventory to see all of the flows. Once again, we select the environments we want to see the report for, and here we can see a list of all of the flows that are available on the environment. Like I previously mentioned, you can select the inactive or orphan flows directly from this screen. So you can click the inactive flows. It's going to show you all of the flows that are inactive, that have been inactive for a certain period of time. That period is by default 30 days, but you can change it in the settings, which we will see just in a moment. But if you figure out that these flows don't really need to be here, you can just select them, or you can select them all and simply delete them like we did with the apps. You can do the same thing for orphan flows. Those are flows that don't have an active owner. You can click here to change or add owners, or you can delete them if you decide that they don't need to exist anymore. Let's go into settings right here. If we go into the Power Platform, here you can see that the default for the inactivity for a certain resource, the environment, app, or flow, is 30 days, but you can change this to any number that you want. So you can have different criteria for different types of Power Platform resources, and you can customize this the way you want it to. After this is changed, this is going to be the criteria after which a certain app, flow, or environment is considered inactive and showed as inactive. And lastly, let's go once again here into the Power Platform reports, and let's look over Power Platform connections. So here we can once again select the environments we are interested in, and we can see all of the flows that are available. And if we expand this, we can see all of the connections that exist, and we can see what flows have access to those connections. And you can see whether they are being used. You can see that, for example, these connections don't have any flows that are using them, so maybe they're not necessary. And this is also another way to see how those resources are connected together. Now let me go back to the report center, and if we actually, let me use the search function this time. So the Power Platform, just one last note, as you can see, the Power Platform is currently in free preview, which is about to end, and then it's going to give you all of these reports as an additional add-on if you're interested. But let's move on to the SharePoint agents, and let me just filter out, show all reports. And if we go into the custom SharePoint agents inventory, if we select it, it's going to show you primarily all of the workspaces that have an active, that actually have a custom SharePoint agent. So instead of running this report for all of the sites and all of the teams, all of the groups that have that are available in your tenant, you can only select those that have a custom SharePoint agent. So in this example, let's select all of them. We can run the report, and we can see a list of all of the custom agents that are available. We can see the URL to the agent directly. We can see when it was created. We can see whether it's approved or not. And we can also click on any of these agents to go into the details screen, which shows us permissions like for any other file, including the users, external users, their permissions. But here we can also see the knowledge sources. We can see what knowledge sources are available for this custom agent and where is the agent actually drawing information from. We can also take a look at the breadcrumbs above here, and if we go into the previous folder, we can see all of the approved agents on this site. You can see they are listed here. And if we go back once more into site assets and then copilots, we can see all of the agents in general that exist, even those that are not approved. For example, this agent is not approved, but you can still see it right here in Point. And in the future, we will also be adding a dashboard tile to the home screen that is going to show you the number of custom SharePoint agents and their trends as they're being created. So you can see that information at a glance directly from the home screen in Syskit Point. And right now, I would like to pass the mic to Alexandra so she can show you some other cool things we'll be developing in Syskit Point.
So as we mentioned previously, I will now show you some of the minor updates that we've been working on. Nevertheless, I think some of them will be extremely helpful, at least for those of you who ask for them. So I hope this will make you happy. All right, so let's start with the first one, which is regarding the new columns that we added. Just give me a sec so I can find it. All right, so first one is on the site's overview screen. We added 2 different columns which are not visible in your default view. So as any other column that you need to add to your report, you go to the column chooser and just search for it. These 2 are related to the number of owners and number of admins that you have on your workspaces. You can now easily see the number for all of your workspaces. You can even sort by the number if that's of any interest to you or you have any use case there. And pretty much customize the view to completely fit your needs here. Moving on to in this column part of the session is the new columns that were added to the sharing links report. So I will just jump to that one now. Here, as you know, you can see the list of all of your sharing links. You can see the URL, you can see the link type, when it was created, when it expires, does it have a sensitivity label applied, etc. But in this day and age, when we talk about oversharing, when we are really focusing on these, the information that we got is that we need to have the information when the link was last used and who it was used by. So this is our demo environment. We don't have the data here, but you will see the name of the person who used the link and when they last opened it. We think this will be extremely helpful in looking when we talk about the oversharing issues that you have. And the last one in the columns part is the company name. So some of you asked us for additional information regarding some of your users. The specific information was the company name. So we added it here again. You go to the column chooser, you select company name, and now you can see that information for all of the users in your tenant. All right, now we're finished with this first part of added columns. Another thing that we added in is the site support in governance policies. So when we talk about minimum owners or maximum owners policies that you have in Syskit Point, before you could only apply them to groups and teams. And now we have added the site support as well. So if you go to our security and compliance dashboard and go to the workspaces with not enough owners, now you can see this new filter here for sites. You can see that they are also included now. You can, similar to all the other workspaces, obviously, you can accept risk if you're okay with it. You can ask the owners to review, or if you want to do it on your own, you can go ahead here and you can just add owners yourself. So the flow is exactly identical to what we had before with the teams and groups. Now we only offer site support. In this policy, we are looking at SharePoint owners group to determine the number of owners. And again, I think it's pretty much the same, but I can show it to you what it looks like for the maximum owners. It's pretty much the identical flow. Oh, this is too many members, sorry. Too many owners. It's, yeah, the identical flow. You can see that this site has 19 owners. That is not in line with your company policy. You can go ahead and ask the site owners to do that themselves, or you can go ahead and just remove it manually as an admin as well. We are also thinking, actually working on providing site support for some other policies. At the moment, we are talking about the orphaned workspaces, which will be the next policy to follow with the site support story. All right, and going to one of our most popular reports, the permission matrix. The news here is that, again, really small change, but powerful, that you can now actually create a report for specific document libraries or folders. Before, you could only do it on this level or on a subsite. Now you can go deeper and just, for example, select this document library, show only items with unique permissions, run report, and get the information that you need for only one specific document library. And finally, when we talk about sensitivity labels, you know that we introduced this style. We are now looking into improving it and kind of moving into that direction of providing you better insights into your sensitivity of your workspaces. The first small step was kind of only the visibility. I will now need to switch to this screen. Okay, so now before, when you were applying sensitivity labels, you did not really get a clear view of all the different sublabels, and you couldn't see the parent and sublabel names. And now we just changed that so you can easily identify what is the parent label name and what are the sublabels beneath it, and then you can make sure to apply the right one. Again, small, maybe cosmetic change, but it will improve your user experience in general. All right, that was all from our small changes or improvements. I will now go back to the presentation. All right, and share some exciting news that we have coming in the near future. Some of you on this call probably already know what I'm talking about, as we did a lot of user research on the topic. So we are now introducing the new feature called Workspace Review. Just a second, let me see if you're seeing the right screen. Okay, you are. So basically, it's an enhanced access review, which will help you in terms of providing you more information about your workspaces. So now, as an admin, you can ask your end users to input not only to check permissions for these sites, but they can check privacy, they can check sensitivity. We will give them custom recommendations on what they should do, because during our research, we kind of identified the main problem that people go to access reviews, they start doing it, and they don't know what they should focus on. They just get this huge chunk of data and they need to review, and they don't know what is important and what not. So we will do custom recommendations for them in order to kind of guide your end users towards what is something that they should actually focus on. So besides the end user enhancement in terms of really much better user experience, much more intuitive and simpler, we are also listening to the admin side of the story. So we have actually expanded the scope of admin functionalities in terms of helping them even set it up better, and just to make sure that they can see and do everything they intend to. I know it's all kind of not too clear, but let me just give you an exclusive sneak peek into what it actually looks like. So this is one of the screens for the end users. It will continue to be in kind of a wizard-like flow, but as I said, much more focused with more specific recommendations on what you should do in each step. So not just, here we go, check all of your sharing links in your workspace that you own, but just be more guided. For example, take a look at the expired sharing links, unused, take a look at those anonymous links, which we know are important and dangerous. Take a look at what was shared internally, etc. So this is just a quick sneak peek of what we have prepared for you, and I'm really looking forward to actually releasing it. I forgot to mention on the previous slide, if you do have some information you would like to share with us, something that you think needs to be included in the new feature that we are working on, if you have used our access reviews before, please feel free to contact us at feedback@syskit.com. and just share your thoughts. And that brings us to the end of this part. We are now looking forward to reading some of your questions. So Philip, you can join me and let's see what are the questions here. All right, so the first one I already answered in chat is regarding the Power Platform storage and managing it. We understand that it's difficult to understand and manage using Microsoft native tools. That was a comment from one of you, and as I told you in the chat, I don't know if you saw the message, we'll be really looking forward to investigate this in more detail with you. If you have time to jump on a quick call with us, we would really love to hear about your experience and just learn more. The second is, can we see Premier connectors in your lists?
Let me take this question. Yes, you can. Let me just share my screen so we can, so I can show you. I think it's easier. So let's go into the reports and let's find the Power Platform reports and then the Power Platform Connections report. So let's run it. And here, so the Power Platform Connections report has the column tier. And you can see that in this is just the demo environment, so it doesn't have all of the available options. But if you have premium connections, you would see them here as premium, just like you see standard. And you can select that. So just let's pretend that this standard says premium. You can select it, click OK, and then it's going to filter out all of the premium connectors that you have for the selected environments. And if you want to come back to this view, all of Syskit Point reports have the ability to create a custom view just by clicking this number. So if we click here, we can see right for premium connection. And then if we save this view, we can see it here already created previously. So you can click here and then you can filter out this specific view, so you don't have to go every time and then find a column and filter it out. But that's a way that you can easily see premium connectors that you have available in your tenant. I hope that answers your question.
All right.
All right. Do we have any more questions?
Yes, let's move on to the next one. I don't think you have much to show here, but should we be deleting environments?
Okay, so that's something that actually puzzled us whether that's something that people are interested in, but we heard feedback from multiple users that they actually have the desire to delete environments. And the reasoning that we heard from them was that if you decided an environment really is not being used, or it was created as a test, or sometimes you use an environment for creating an app, just testing some things out, and then as an app becomes more popular, you move it to another default environment or some other environment that is being used in a more official capacity, then you can delete an environment if you really need it. So if you go into, let me just search it, Power Platform Environments Report. Here, once again, we have just as an example 2 environments, but you can have a lot of environments here. If you conclude that the environment is really not important and you can delete it, you can delete it, and in some instances you should delete it. But whether you should do it really depends on your own personal setup and on any specific environment. There isn't a universal rule whether that is something that should be allowed in all the cases. You, of course, before deleting an environment, make sure that you take all these things into consideration, because once you delete it, all of the resources connected to it may be affected. So just something to keep in mind before making any permanent deletions.
All right, we have a few more. The next one is, can I see who created or edited a custom SharePoint agent?
Currently, no. We don't show the information about who created or modified the custom SharePoint agent, but that's something that we will be adding in the future. So currently you can only see the dates, but pretty soon you will also be able to see the people who made the change.
Okay, nice. And one question regarding the timing, something that people from product hate, but I need to ask you. So, Philip, when will the SharePoint agent governance/reporting become available?
Well, that's something that should be available, I would say, within the following month.
Mm-hmm. All right. And let me see.
I hope that's a satisfactory timeline for whoever asked.
Yeah. Okay. Can I see apps that are shared with everyone?
Okay, so let me just go to the apps report.
Now we're doing a second demo.
Yes.
But it's
yes,
better.
Second demo, you know, but that's good, because the first time you don't want to, it's hard to go through all of the functionalities that we added, because there really is a lot of them, and depending on what your use cases are, you will only use some portions of it. But here we are at the Power Apps report. Let me just hide the description column once again. So we actually have the shared with everyone column here. So it's enabled here, and if we just scroll to see it, or if I see here, so you can see whether something is shared with everyone or not, and you can filter it out to see if this is true. It's going to show you all of the apps that are shared with everyone right here.
Okay. Good. There is one more. I'm not 100% sure I know the answer. So I'm currently running the Syskit Point trial. I assume this is why I don't see the Power Platform reports.
The Power Platform reports should be available for those in trial. It's possible that if I think it's best if you contact us and then we can look at the specific case. Because from what I know, you should be able to see them even if the settings are not enabled. You should still see the reports. So it's best if you reach out to us via the email feedback@syskit.com, and then we can see what's going on in the specific situation.
Yeah. In the meantime, you can just check your settings to see if you enable Power Platform, just to make sure that it's not up to that. So Philip will show you now. So you need
So if you go into the settings and then Power Platform, make sure that this is enabled, and also that you completed the process, and then this status is showing that it's collecting data.
All right, let's do one more. Will we be able to see agents created in Copilot Studio in Power Platform inventory?
Yes, that's what we are working on right now, to expand the Power Platform inventory with Copilot agents, but that's something that's not currently available as we are just in the process of developing.
Yeah, another one is kind of similar. Again, will we cover Copilot Studio agents, and will we separate those created using Copilot Studio versus SharePoint? I think you already.
The answer to both of those is yes.
Yeah.
SharePoint agents are not part of the Power Platform, as SharePoint agents are, there's a default agent that comes with every single site, that it's included automatically. And that's something that you can that is enabled by default from Microsoft. If you create a custom agent that you can also approve, or you can set it as a default agent, that's something that we're going to show you in Syskit Point separately from Copilot Agent Studios, the Copilot Studio agents, because Copilot agents are more complex. They're part of the Power Platform. So the answer is yes, we will have both those types of agents, and they will be separated so you can see the reports for both individually.
All right, great. I think we can wrap the Q&A session for today. Thank you everyone for all of your questions. If anything remained unanswered or unclear, we will get back to you via email. Thank you again for coming. I would also like to invite you to kind of continue this discussion if any of you is visiting the European Power Platform Conference next week in Vienna. Both Philip, myself, and 2 more members of the team will be there, so just drop by our booth. Okay, thank you so much for today, and see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.